Let me ask you something. When was the last time you opened an AI assistant? Maybe this morning, maybe 5 minutes ago. Now, what if I told you that every single prompt you type is quietly making your grocery bill go up? Not because of inflation, not because of supply chain issues, because of this. That right there used to be farmland, black soil, glacial soil, the kind that took 500,000 years to form. It's gone now, paved over, not for a school, not for housing, for servers. And here's the part nobody's talking about. You are paying for this every single month, whether you know it or not. Stay with me, because by the end of this video, you're going to see something most people completely miss. And I'm going to show you exactly where the smart money is moving because of it. Okay, let's talk about what's actually happening here. And I promise, this is bigger than you think. Mark Zuckerberg stood up in early 2025 and called it a defining year for AI. He wasn't talking about a new app. He was talking about a data center so large, and I'm quoting him here, it would cover a significant part of Manhattan. 1. Data center. Now here's the scale of what's coming. Right now, the U.S. has about 24.8 gigawatts of data center capacity. By 2028, that number is projected to hit 81.4 gigawatts. That's nearly 4 times what exists today. And here's the thing about AI data centers specifically. Unlike cloud servers, they don't need to be near cities. They just need 3 things: cheap land, massive power, a lot of water. You know what also needs those exact 3 things? Farms. So Amazon, Google, Meta, Microsoft, they didn't go to Silicon Valley for this expansion. They went to rural America, and they went fast, and they went quietly. In Oklahoma, a tech giant entered secret negotiations to annex 827 acres of agricultural land. The community found out about it almost by accident. In Illinois, remember that field I showed you? The landowner said, and I quote, "That dirt is black." He meant it as a compliment. That's some of the most fertile soil on Earth, and it's about to have a parking lot on it. But hey, at least your AI-generated email to your boss will send 5 milliseconds faster. Worth it, right? Okay, maybe not. All right, I know what you're thinking. Cool story, but I don't own farmland. Why do I care? Fair. Let me connect this directly to your life. 3 ways, right now. Number 1, food. When fertile farmland disappears, crop supply tightens. Basic economics. Less supply, same demand, prices go up. 39% of all U.S. farmland is already rented by farmers who don't own it. Every acre that gets converted to a data center doesn't just remove production, it removes it permanently. That soil took 500,000 years to form. You don't get it back. So when you're standing in Walmart wondering why a dozen eggs costs what it costs, this is part of the answer. Number 2, your electricity bill. Data centers consumed 4.4% of all U.S. electricity in 2023. By 2028, that number is projected to be between 6.7% and 12% on an already strained grid. Actually, some of you already felt this. I did a short recently about AI and Texas power bills. That's not a Texas problem, that's an everywhere problem. The grid wasn't built for this. Farm electricity costs alone are forecast to rise 48% between 2019 and 2026. Higher energy costs for farms means, say it with me, higher food prices. At this point, you might be asking, is there anything AI isn't making more expensive? Valid question. We'll get to the silver lining. I promise there is one. Number 3, land and housing costs. Developers are paying up to $150,000 per acre for rural land. That doesn't just affect farmers. It drives up surrounding property values. Housing, rent, in towns that were already struggling with affordability. So let's just be clear about what's happening here. Big tech needs the same inputs as agriculture: land, water, energy. And they have infinitely deeper pockets than any farmer. This isn't a farming problem, it's a cost of living problem. And it's landing on your generation specifically, the one already stretched on rent, groceries, and energy costs. But here's the part I haven't told you yet. This story has a twist. Because the backlash, it's already started, and it's coming from a direction nobody expected. Here's where it gets interesting. Last Christmas in Sand Springs, Oklahoma, a small town outside Tulsa, there was a float in the annual Christmas parade. It was an ugly, giant data center, blinding industrial lights, smoke pouring out of the roof, and underneath it, a tiny, helpless gingerbread house. That's not a meme. That actually happened. Real people built that float because they were that angry. And this backlash, it's not red or blue. In Ohio, residents fought a proposal to rezone 300 acres of farmland for data center development, and won. The developers withdrew the application. In Wisconsin, Virginia, Indiana, the same fights are happening. Now, to be fair, and we have to be fair here, data centers do bring jobs to rural towns that desperately need them. They bring tax revenue, infrastructure investment. Some local governments are welcoming them with open arms. The real question isn't data centers, yes or no. The real question is who decides and who benefits. Right now, that conversation is being shaped without most Americans at the table. But here's where your opportunity is. Because while everyone is arguing about the politics, the smart money is already quietly positioning. Let me show you where. This is the Climate Ledger. So let's talk about what actually matters for your portfolio. The data center boom is not stopping, but here's where your opportunity is. Because while everyone is arguing about the politics, the smart money is already quietly positioning. Let me show you where. So the question isn't whether this happens, it's who captures the value. The first place smart money is looking: data center REITs. Equinix and Digital Realty are the landlords of this build-out. But the more interesting name is Iron Mountain, a storage company quietly pivoting into data centers. Under-owned, under-discussed, worth a look. Second, the energy grid. Quanta Services and MYR Group physically build the transmission infrastructure this expansion needs. Not glamorous, not trending on Reddit, but their order backlogs are growing fast. And third, water. Data centers consume millions of gallons daily for cooling. As they move into rural America, that becomes a real constraint. Xylem and Veolia are the names solving it. This is the most climate-native play of the three, sitting exactly at the intersection of AI infrastructure and environmental necessity. 3 plays. Most people won't connect these dots for another 2 years. You just did. Next week, I'm going deep on the energy grid angle, specifically which companies are positioned to capture the infrastructure build-out and which ones are dangerously overexposed. If you want that before it's everywhere, subscribe and hit the bell. That's the whole ask. And if this changed how you think about AI's real-world footprint, drop a comment. I read every single one. See you next week.